Good morning, guys, and welcome to FYI. For your information, it's the fourth day of August. I
Oh
keep
my.
thinking it's July.
Yes, it's the
It's
fourth day
August.
of
Good
August.
morning, folks. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you guys doing this morning? It's great to be with you again this morning. Sunny day today.
Yes, it is. Better
Sunny
well
day
than
today.
yesterday.
So yeah. So guys, go out there, get your business done as early as possible, and stay
Correct.
safe on the roads.
Correct. Good to see Evelina Whitaker, using up all the comments there on YouTube. Thank you, Evelina.
Good morning, Siobhan McDonald.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good day.
Yeah. Morning, guys. Do let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. And you can drop in the comment section to where you're joining us from. I'd be delighted to know that, where you folks are joining us from today. But welcome to our humble broadcast. And it's because you all join us from so many different places, we get a chance to say, we have an international morning program. Who expects?
Good morning, Carol Jeffers. Good morning, Julian Mars, Vanessa De Silva. Hope you guys have a good day
Yeah.
today. It's lovely to have you on with us this morning.
It is. It is. It is. Guys, welcome. Rock and come in wherever you all are coming in from. What's for breakfast? I'm having some tea compliments of the TS. She who shall not be named, the TS, right? And she might have to tell us what we have this morning. She who shall not be named, the TS.
Yes, I think, Sharon, you have elderberry and blackberry tea this morning with some sugar, and I have some straight ginger tea this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually brought my tea.
Yeah.
Because the ginger and lemon you have not as strong as I like. It's like so I have some straight ginger tea this morning. So
Wow.
what are you guys having this morning?
Yeah, do let us know. When people giving you elderberry, they're telling you something, right? Beryl Crawford, Orwin Dunn. Orwin, how is the US? They're telling you you're big. Thankfully, God said, hopefully, we're big. Elderberry,
It's a different flavor.
In a certain age, just berry.
No, the elder.
Advanced now is elderberry.
My humble apologies. That wasn't what I was going for.
Yeah. There's no wish in this country, People don't allow you to forget. We're there, elderberry. You try to get a bus and say, big man.
Auntie, oh my goodness.
Big auntie.
Just I'm looking in the mirror. Am I that big after all?
Savannah Page, we were going somewhere the other day in a boat. They said the big one's at the back. I don't know if it's age, if it's size, if it's what.
Where did you go, Sharon?
I take the second to last. This body shaming must finish.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Leon Logan. Good morning, Fayan Ross. Good morning, Sheena Hazel. Good to have you guys on with us this morning. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah. Vanessa says I'm going to cook cook hot curry. Hot curry. Yes. I can taste it already, Vanessa.
Yes. A good Friday for a hot curry.
Don't make it invite myself. I can taste it already. It's a long time I eat a hot curry.
Curry is always good.
I don't want to invite myself. I see Reese Morgan has joined us. Tessa Isaacs Graves. And you guys be so happy that so many of you join us from so many places. Privilege. I've had a light morning the past couple of mornings. Thanks. It's happy to be here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Is it the tea, the AC?
It's the company.
Is it? Oh, awesome.
It's the company.
This one's a sweet talker, Dolly Anderson. We see you there, Jolly. Marla Pandey joining us from Carmichael Street. Marla, how you doing?
Marla said pace and power.
Pace and power all the way. Pace and power.
She's ready.
Sean and all the other folks. We got a couple of things we want to discuss with you guys. And then we get out your ears so that you can go ahead and have a fantastic Friday. It's that kind of thing. It's the fourth day of August already. Half the year gone.
Yes. And sometimes you don't realize the year's flying so fast. I'm just hoping that we've been able to accomplish all that we set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We're on our way to doing that.
Yeah. So
time waits for no man.
Yeah, pick up your foot, as the Jamaican says, and get on those goals, those tasks, dreams and aspirations. They don't just do by itself,
You got to work for it.
Push your body. She says work for it.
Garnish my part to be to how many minutes you slept.
How many minutes you slept? Because when we left, I think you were on your foot. Folks, we were in the National Assembly up until about 2 this morning.
Yes. Good morning, MP Garnish Paul, who's acting chief whip.
Yeah.
Right
and it's a short time. It's in the National Assembly up until about 2 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see sleep in Sherrod's face.
It's true. You're lying. Flesh and blood didn't reveal it to you. You see, when you spirit, can you pick up things? You pick up in spirit, my brother. Right there, the edge. At the edge of sleep. But good to see each and every one of you. Yeah.
Yes. I'm seeing some news here that we'll get into that news.
Yeah, Danny say only Iwan I open.
Oh my. Good morning to you, MP Ganesh.
Only Iwan I open.
Yes, it was a late night in the National Assembly. We were in there from 10 yesterday until after 2 this morning. I know you would have looked at some of those, what transpired in the National Assembly on your evening program. And so we'll get a little bit into that as well today.
I don't mind late nights, but I like the kind of late nights like last night.
that is part of your job, sure.
Oh, look, Margaret. You see, if I put the rest of y'all, Margaret say I look fresh as a daisy.
As a daisy.
Oh, shucks, boy. See that? I ain't getting a long time. Fresh as a daisy. My God. You know, this body could still for something. No, protect one. Oh, no.
I'm not involved in that.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you so much. The show must go on. Folks, where are we coming in from? Share the like. Smash the emoji button for us. We'll be so grateful.
Dolly Anderson is coming in from Brooklyn. She says zip code 11212 is waiting for you in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah, coming, Dolly. Dolly. Right? Dolly, keep the champagne and ice. Coming through. Yeah, we got Ronaldo Cassius is joining us. Glenford Gordon is joining us. Nicole Jones is here as well. And I see Davis Charles. Is it Charlotte? Yeah, Renella Garnett is here too. Yes. Renella, how is your son doing? Good to have you here this morning. Share the live, guys. Smash that emoji button. And you got part with us too because we don't want to watch, unfortunately. You know, I hear Anil last night talking, but in the ring, you know.
Everybody looks at it.
Yeah.
So good morning, Gail Alicock. Good morning, Roger Greenwich. Good morning, Roy Garraway. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, Lyndon Gill. Sharon, I think people are ready for the news.
Yeah. So I think we're covering some of what
hurry up, Bronx in the house. Bronx is in the house and ready for the morning.
Good. So good to have you guys, Henry Radney and all the other folks. Henry wants to know when I'm going to visit London. Henry, I don't like to go any place I'm unwelcome. Yes, it's a long time to get an invitation to London, so I can't keep myself.
So you're waiting on the invitation.
Waiting on the invitation. Okay. That's what I meant to say. Folks, some of the stuff we're covering in the morning papers, and it's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in the morning papers today. I was going to rattle off some of them off the cuff of my head. But, let's pick up on some of what we're covering internationally. Ukraine, the ambassador to the Ukraine, big name, fancy name, It's a Ukrainian name. Let me see. Ambassador to the Ukraine is simpler for us.
What is important what she was saying?
Yeah. And she was saying, lots of these presidential candidates in the U.S. who are running talk about the Ukraine invariably and what their policy would be and all of that, whether they can, stop funding or, less, whatever the case is. But she's saying, y'all come and visit.
Yes, and that is true, In a lot of situations, people are in their bubbles talking about what's happening on the ground. Like we heard a lot last night about how awesome the policies of the PPP are, but on the ground, you get the reality of the situation. So I understand what she's saying, that all those who are interested in becoming president of the United States should actually go and see what is happening in Ukraine before they spout anything about what policies best to implement as it relates to what's going on with Ukraine and the war with Russia.
So she said, come and see. And she invited Trump specifically to come and see because I think he has some, he favors Russia a lot. He's a Manchurian candidate of sorts. And so he's been talking a lot about pulling back support. She said, come and see. Come and see. And sometimes that empirical evidence is the best you can have.
I have whenever I hear Trump's name, it normally augurs something not very positive. But he says a lot that doesn't make much sense. But I agree with her, and I don't see him. I don't see him actually stepping on a plane to go to Ukraine. But I like her approach. That if it is that you're going to talk about what's happening in my country, the least you could do is come and see what the people are going through, see what the issues are before you decide to speak with any amount of authority on what's happening here.
Yeah. I agree with you too. So there's that happening, folks. And then in Cuba, I love this. I own 2 bicycles, 2 cycles, 2 bikes. And in Cuba, I was so excited when I saw this in Cuba. They've launched recently these bamboo bicycles.
You know what
You know?
I like about Cuba is the innovation
Yeah.
that comes.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes we see that they've been cut off so much from a lot that's happening outside, but it has caused them to be so innovative in their approach to a lot of what they do. And so this bamboo bicycle, I think, is testament that that you can push through under what would seem as harsh circumstances.
Correct.
Right? It's
Correct.
not easy for you
Correct.
to import everything, but that
Correct.
gives your mind the liberty to just, what can we create
Correct.
with what we have around us? And so there we have it. Cuba has bamboo bicycles, and I think that is an excellent initiative.
Yeah, I don't think you can come wrong funny and impose your harsh sanction and whatever. They use what they have, and that's a good way to view it. Too many of us try to live outside of our means, live like the Joneses or the Jack Deos or whoever else O's you have, J's you have. That is. But the bamboo bikes, I love this. I love this idea. And again, this is easy on the environment and all of that. Natural. That's the way to go all the time. How many of you would try the bamboo bicycles?
I think we should give it a try.
Yeah, and bamboos are very stern.
We should probably speak with the Cuba ambassador, share it.
Bring a couple.
Bring a couple.
Bring a couple. I love it. I love it. I love it. So there's that. Ayaba says innovation. Latoya Spencer says lovely. It's true. I'm right with you there. Ayaba says I would try it.
You see, Commissioner Cole, hopefully no one sees it and shifts it together.
Oh boy, that's another story. And we're coming to stealing just now. We're coming to stealing, but in regional news, folks, in Trinidad, right, the former Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, supporting Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who is the former Prime Minister and leader of the opposition of the United National Congress there in Trinidad and Tobago. Kamala said, you gotta light them up when the bandits come in. They got a problem like us here. Them boys moving about with impunity. She said, when you come in your homes, light them up. And they said they should be elected and all of that in the regional election,
local
government elections. And then the general, they will give more citizens guns to light up them boys when they come in your home. And he was asked to comment on her statement, this lighting up of the boys. And he said, desperate times call for desperate measures.
When he got into trouble, he was Commissioner of Police for that same issue because he was very lenient in who got guns. And so that was one of the major issues I think the judiciary had with him. And I think a magistrate or someone came out and spoke out against what he was doing in terms of just being too lenient in terms of his approach to guns and guns on the street of Trinidad. I cannot see and understand how, if there is violence, how as it relates to guns, and your perspective on the matter is that we should just give out more guns because that will somehow stop the violence or reduce the violence. It needs to be a different approach and a different policy that deals with what is causing the violence in the first place. Why are people going that route? Because if you don't look at the source of the issue, then it will continue in different forms in your society. And so just lighting it up, then more people will die. And I'm not sure if that is the answer to the problems that Trinidad faces or any country faces. Correct.
Kamala says, light them up. 100 shop, more than pop, light them up. That's what she said, former Prime Minister. And of course, Gary Griffith, the former Commissioner of Police, says, desperate times, desperate measures. What are we going to do at our end? Because we know them boys moving with impunity. In the 592s, we come closer to home. This is how it goes down. Here, anytime, it used to be a certain time of day when these folks pounce on you, and now is any time they show up.
According to the Commissioner of Police of Trinidad, desperate times.
Desperate times. As we head into what's happening locally, last night, when we were in National Assembly, I think it was, we got the news that former Chief Education Officer, Dr. OLATO Sam, lost his life.
Yeah, by gunshot.
As
we were on that same topic. And it was a stray bullet. It wasn't apparent, based on information that we've received thus far. The bullet was not meant for him. There was some gunplay between two other persons, not in the group that he was hanging out with, but the bullet hit him and he died. And so it's sad. And serious condolences to his family, to his friends, to his colleagues on the passing of Dr. OLATO Sam. And I'm hoping that they're able to figure out who actually caused that, and who actually, whether or not that gun was legal. And what was the issue surrounding that whole accident? Well, it's now a murder. So it's a sad day for us and a sad day for the family of OLATO Sam. But this whole thing, gun violence, is now here in Guyana too. It's not just in Trinidad. And policies need to be in place as it relates to gun violence. It can't be that everybody can just be so brazen that, you know, something happens, they just take out the gun.
Correct.
They're just shooting it around because they're excited or happy or sad, whatever the case is. And so we have to be a bit more prudent about who gets guns and what they do with it once they have it. And if they, you know, if it is that we recognize that things are going out of whack, so to speak, then we have to figure out a policy to deal with that before it gets out of control.
Friends, family, favorites getting the guns, and unfortunately, that led to the death of OLATO Sam, Dr. OLATO Sam, last evening. You know, stray bullet. You could imagine you go any place, they were on the lines up at Pleasance, you know, just hanging out. You know, get a drink to ease from the stress of this country and the PP government. And then people got gunplay, you know, just like that, you know. Life in this country too cheap. That's the big problem. Right? The value of life in this country, it's too cheap. And people take the cue from the administration, you know. From the administration, look what happened at Madia, 20 dead. And up to now, you can't have a commission of inquiry. We can talk a little about that too, a little later on in the program. But our thoughts and prayers go out to the education fraternity.
Yes.
Because I know he was still employed with the ministry as a consultant or something of that sort up until the time of his death. And it has to be a tremendous shock to the community there. His friends, family, loved ones as well. You know, our condolences. Politics aside, the fellow knew he knew what he knew.
Yeah.
He knew what he knew, and this gun violence that we're seeing now, you know. And Trinidad is an example because Trinidad has had oil, you know, for decades. You know, I think over 100 years.
Yes, over 100 years. Yeah, over 100.
And the kind of crime and so on we see in Trinidad is symptomatic of that. Right? Who got and who got inequalities and all of that. I'm saying there's no excuse for it. But people look at all those things and say, you know what? I can do what I got to do.
And that is why the policies you create are so important.
Yeah.
A government has to ensure that whatever it is that is happening economically, that if it's a positive, we have 50% growth in GDP and all of that, we have to find ways in ensuring that majority, if not all of society, gets a stake in what is happening in the country, because people will get desperate and do things that we know is not right.
Yeah.
And everybody will be affected by it, and we don't want to go down that road. And so as early as possible, we have to put systems in place, recognizing that 10, 15 years down the line, if we don't put systems in place now, it will come back to bite us. So I don't know, I'm hoping that good sense will prevail.
Our parliamentary colleague, Natasha Singh, is on the line, and Natasha says that, you know, we're the real soldiers. Sharon Tabitha.
Yeah, they're probably now taking turns. They turned in your bed.
Good to see you, Natasha.
Good morning, Natasha Singh.
Great to see you, and good morning to you and all the other MPs across the country, around the country. No exceptions. I'm feeling generous this Friday. No exceptions. So our thoughts and prayers, our hearts, our thoughts and prayers with the friends and family of Dr. OLATO Sam, you know. Yeah, and we talked about how them boys is moving with impunity, Tabitha. A fella walked into HG and fetched out the TV.
He didn't know it was HG.
He didn't like what the broadcast. He just fetched out the TV.
He didn't know it was HG.
Right. HG, folks, hits and jams.
Oh, he knew it was HG.
Right? He scaled the fence. Right? And then they saw him moments later running up the road on television.
They got the television. I'm guessing if he ran up the road, they got the television.
Right. I'm not too certain because no, they didn't get the TV because they're looking for him. They're asking for any information.
Oh my.
You know, part of the takeaway here, folks, is if them boys can be so brazen for tackle HG, right? I mean, them boys get a sign out to see some business place, what have you. If the criminal elements in this society in which we live could be so brazen, Waveney Doris and Robin Narayan and all the other folks joining us from around the world, so brazen to tackle hits and jams.
Yeah.
You know?
Then no one is safe.
How we gonna fear?
No one is safe.
Right?
No one is safe.
Me ain't got no guns, and so I shouldn't say that. Leave them boys know. Yeah. Leave them guessing. Right? I might even go for my gun in time. If them boys could tackle HJ, Pearly, you know, and May West, How we gonna fear? You know, the PPP when they were campaigning promised a crime prevention plan. Like last year they promised is the 40,000 old age pension, free university, you know, a lot of things. We still holding, we still waiting. They said they were going to do a crime prevention plan. Right?
And one thing that they stopped when they
Yeah.
got in was a security plan that we had started. Remember,
Correct.
when we got into office, we had the British people come in to help with the security sector and to create a whole plan there, and then they stopped it when they came into office. So I'm not sure what their agenda is as it relates to security in Guyana, but even the U.S. embassy has put out issued some statements as it relates to the safety of their citizens in the country, and they're saying they're not safe, and they have to be very careful as to where they go and how they travel across the length and breadth of Guyana. And so that is an indication that they would know. If we don't know, they would know. And it's a case of things are getting a bit serious as it relates to security and robbery and theft and all of those things. And so we all have to be careful and keep all eyes open. And when you go to bed at night, be as vigilant. Make sure you close all your doors, lock all your windows. And yes.
I sleep like a cat. You know, I know some of y'all sleep did that fetch y'all out. Put y'all in a barrel and float y'all out to see, let them sharks eat y'all. Y'all sleep so sound. I sleep like I hit a look at your face. You know, I sleep like a cat. Choose here as I have. Name, rank, and number. Who goes there? Who goes there? Name, rank, and number. You know?
No, it's a serious.
I roll up the bed and land on my feet, you know. Quite, and I am the prowl.
No, Sharon. No, it's a serious. Sharon,
I reach out to the fellow wanted. Who goes there? Name, rank, and number. You know what I there, you know. Cabinet says, light them up. Light them up. We in the streets, we know what I mean. We can interpret that. Right? You need no definition for that, the back no act. Light them up, Kamala says.
Yeah, but when a politician says that, what exactly is she expecting? I don't understand.
She's being a little Trump-esque, you know. Light them up. You know? Well, if you see me, I hear it not, I got my matches, you come for me. Light y'all up.
I think we need new leaders.
I got my boxing matches waiting for y'all. Light them up, she says. Little Carol, so you could afford gasoline in the hard barber season.
Carol is it. Carol.
I showed little Carol.
Carol some matches.
I swallowed little Carol and I ready with my match show. Y'all come around me funny. Light y'all up. Right? Maxine Monroe, you see how we can bring down your blood pressure this morning? Right? The same money you can take to buy the pills, send the money to us. You know, we can give you guys sell the TV or what have you. It's better you sell it for me than them boys come and push it out.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Light them up, Kabbalah says. But HJ, folks, you know, human side, age, if them boys could bridge HJ, you know, we ain't got too much hope the rest of it, you know. We ain't got 40 bodyguard and, you know, 40 million in the bank for security and all that. Yeah. It brings to question the security guard there too.
That's exactly what I was thinking. They probably didn't have this proper security.
That's another story too. What kind of security they have there?
Security was probably
for the
tired
business.
and sleeping. But was it daytime? It looks like it was daytime.
Yeah. Man, just jump the fence and go on the TV just like that.
He needed to see.
You know, man, come back for thing. You know, come back for thing. You know, folks, this issue here that we cover next. And this young man, this young woman you see behind us, this is one of the young women from the Madia fire. And the guy she's standing with saved her life, pulled her from the flames. And one of the things they're asking this morning is, why aren't these people being recognized? You know, one of the headlines in this morning's papers is commissioners from Madia COI to be sworn in next Wednesday.
Oh.
You know, that's one of the headlines. It only took them about 90 days. It only took them about 3 months. But it's the next Wednesday. But folks, don't start celebrating yet. Don't bust out the champagne. Next Wednesday, you can come and say, you know what, we got a thing. Right? So, Anna Charles, apparently.
And then you have to see who they put on the commission.
Correct. You know if you get anything proper out of it. Because the last presidential COI, you remember how they went? Claudette, not a word in Claudette. So we don't know what happened there. We don't know. Anna Charles, apparently the mother of this young lady. Here's what she wrote on Facebook recently. This young man was my daughter's guardian angel. He was a hero who entered the dormitory when a huge fire was ablaze. You imagine, no one has ever visited this young man since the accident. What world are we living in? I've talked to him, but no minister or the president has ever asked to meet with these people who saved the children. Why? You understand that? Right? Those people would have been paraded like how they pulled the children out of the hospital and carried them by the human for photo ops. Those people would have been commended. Those people would have got some kind of a medal, medal of service, whatever the case might be. Went into that place. I am still shocked that the real first responders, the 75 service came, people are already being pulled out. Were already being pulled out. And here is the mother of this child asking the people who said they care, why have you never met with these first responders who are heroes, and in her words, guardian angel. This is the guardian angel of her daughter. That is fascinating to me.
Yeah, it for me, it bears out the fact of whether or not they were genuine in their whole approach to the magic situation and how they dealt with it. Because if you were serious about what happened and what transpired and getting to the bottom of it and helping to ensure that everybody that was involved in the process were, one, you got to know who they were or who they are and what role they played in ensuring that what happened, that they were able to save lives and so the fact that no mention was made, nobody went to see, because we know of other persons who were there, who broke down, who opened the gate, who went in and ensured that some persons were some of the girls were saved, and I'm quite sure they too were never spoken to. And I think it's a sad way to approach this whole situation on so many levels, from the time it happened to everything that the government has done from then to now. It shows that it's not a genuineness in the way in which they're dealing with the situation. It's how they can take political advantage of the situation on all fronts. Whether it's a case of showing that they care, and so they bring the young women who were basically battling for their lives in hospital, dealing with the trauma of the entire situation, to parade them in front of people. And then now you have the Attorney General apparently going with a piece of paper for them to sign to say that they cannot hold the government culpable for what happened in the situation beyond what the government decide they deserve for the death of their children. And now you hear that they have not even looked out for the persons who actually ensured that all lives were not lost. I think that's a basic thing that you should do as a government official. And so I think we should call on government officials to do what they should have done in the first place, and not wait for it to get to social media before they take the right steps.
Correct. Make it right. And there's still time. There is still time, but this is not a government that likes to acknowledge its mistakes at all. These were people who went beyond, they could have just stood by and watched the blaze. I ain't putting my life at risk for that. But instinctively, they went into that burning building, and that was an inferno for all intents and purposes. When I was in Madhya a couple of weeks ago, I had the chance to go and visit that area. Folks, the metal bed frames were bent because of the heat. So intense was the fire. The metal bed frames, are in all kinds of contorted shapes because of that heat. That was an inferno, and people risked their lives, went into that place. I'm hearing in my head the recount of one gentleman who said when he got in and he heard the screams, he just grabbing, it's so dark, he grabbing people and flesh coming off in his hands and all of that.
And he was so sad he couldn't go in to get more, But, I'm hearing what he said in that interview.
Yeah, and we can't even recognize these people. Right? But somebody gonna land from Timbuktu and hustle to get them a medal quick, and make them feel nice. Right? And real heroes, real guardian angels are tossed to the wayside. That's how we do it, folks.
So as Cheryl said, make it right.
Make it right. Make it right, Irfan. Irfan has such a golden opportunity. He can be a good and solid president. Right? But Jack Neo is like the devil in the ears. The devil in the ears all the time.
See, I have an issue with that statement because
I knew you would. That's why I said it. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying about Jagger being the devil in the ears of Irfan.
He's a devil too.
But he has to also figure out who, if he wants to be, what kind of president he wants to be and how he has to act. I can't lay it all at Jagger. Jagger is Jagger.
He's your devil.
So he's exactly, but Irfan has to make certain decisions.
Yep.
And based on the decisions he is making and the statements that he is made in public, he isn't easy either.
Yeah.
And so both of them should be thrown away in the garbage at Higgs.
Make it right. That's what they're saying. Make it right. And then we come to now this issue of Chinese landing. You know, the government has halted temporarily the mining operations that are happening there. And the residents don't like even the approach that they're taking to reaching out to them. They said they have some disagreements with this fact-finding mission. You know, since they said they're halting temporarily, initially, that told us everything we needed to know. Everything, right? They're just going through the motions right now, so you can't say they never did nothing. We come and we see, and it's not as bad as, you know, it was paid into the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights and all of that. And so they're going to allow friends, family, and favorites to continue to mine in the lands of those people. That's what's really going to happen there. You can't say they never, you know, try to help it anyway. That is what we saw in a place like Jetty. When you're selling those poor people land for, you know, all kind of astronomical prices. Even if you sell land there for $1 million, it is really in the ask of 50. Same difference, right? But you can't say you weren't offered. Good. You can't say they didn't went to Chinese landing. And this issue with this land and mining and so on is replicated so many times in this country. How people are dispossessed. Could you imagine? The means to the empowerment beneath their feet. It belongs to them like the oil belongs to all of us as Guyanese. Right? But they're so far removed from it. Them men sending outsiders to go and dig out them people. Dig out the minerals from the earth. And they're left impoverished. They ain't getting nothing. Nothing at all. It's like we in the oil. How much years now we pumping? We ain't feeling it at all. You know, I heard Tabitha say earlier on about this GDP and all that. We're not feeling that. Largest GDP. You should hear them in the parliament. Oh, we got the biggest GDP. You understand me? But if we can't use it because it's so big to the benefit of the people, what's the purpose?
Well, it's benefiting who they want it to benefit.
What's the damn purpose?
You see, for me, it's a mindset. It's a mindset of a group of people who think that all of Guyana belongs to them, and whatever they see, whatever they foot touch, whatever they dream up in the night that they should be able to do tomorrow, nothing should stop them, whether it's people, whether titles of land, whatever it is, that they should not be able to be stopped. Whether it's the livelihoods of entire families, like what happened at Hillfoot. Like, how could you go and, as a man, look at families with children and decide you're going to take an excavator and just bulldoze over 50 family homes? Like, you know, what is the thinking that is going through that? Okay, there is land there. That yes, it is that you may decide that you may own the land or may not own the land, but the way in which you go about it has to be different. There has to be some amount of humanity in how it is that we approach even business, whatever business it is that we intend to do. It cannot be just business, brutal business, with no care for the humanity and humans that have to live among and with us. And so I think that mindset has seeped through the entire society from the top right down. And so it's a case of whatever I want, I must get. And whoever doesn't like it, well, you all have to be pushed to the side because I need to get what I need to get. And so my bank account should be full even if yours are empty. Even if you don't have a roof over your head.
That's the wickedness, you know? That's the mischief of these folks. They got to deal with almost on a daily basis. Right? You got the means to your salvation right there. And everybody doesn't give you a chance, you know. Others coming in and ripping out everything and gone. Right? Because somehow in their minds, right, what do you need money for? Right? You know about jungle life and tree and so on. You know, you jump in the water, you come back with the fish in your mouth. So what do you need money for?
It's a contempt for people.
Yeah. Precisely. That's what it is. So we might want to look into that. We might want to look into that. You know, y'all slip up and see what that commission is going to do to y'all. It's just they have this facade. You know, they love to talk about good governance, transparency and accountability, and the whole works. But the practice of it, 3 years later, 3 years into the practice, right, leaves much to be desired. That's how we can say. And as we talk about money and so on, Papa Jaguar, y'all know him. He shall not be named. He is saying in one of the headlines in this morning's papers that they're pretty much doing enough spending to cushion the high cost of living, right? So like we basically, when we go to the market and we believe we would have gotten more, 3 years ago than we're getting now in the supermarket. We know we're talking about goods because they're doing enough. Yep.
Right? I'm trying to understand, who is he talking to?
I don't know.
Because
The 1% maybe.
Because even his supporters would know that doesn't make sense, because they can't survive. They're not surviving. They're barely surviving under the current circumstances. So I'm trying to figure out exactly who he is speaking to. Is he trying to get people to look at their circumstances and say, my circumstance is not true because Papa Jacob, as you said different? So I'm trying to understand who exactly he is trying to speak to, because the reality for people, whether they be APNU supporters or PPP supporters, the majority of the population are in a bad state.
Correct.
The economy, whatever GDP is not reaching, that is not reaching the entire population. So you cannot come out and say that and expect people to be, yes, he's doing an excellent job and I can't eat, I can't feed my family. That, to me, I don't understand who he's speaking to. So that would be my first question to him.
So apparently, like when you hear he talk, you must say, well, I ain't really hungry.
Yeah.
No,
actually, when he talk, your belly get full.
Yeah. It's full up just like that.
The belly get full, the covers get full, and your rent get paid, and your water bills got paid, everything, because he just spoke.
That is where we are, unfortunately. That is where we are. But the other side of that, I think, is where the truth lies, because Mr. Norton came out recently and, of course, expressed sentiments that all of us can identify with. 3 years later, right? And not too much has been done. 3 years, all the promises, there's a comfort to, right? 3 years later, not much has been accomplished by this administration and regime. Not much. And the cost of living is only one example. Don't take our word for it. Every week, Sabbath News, for instance, has a column about the cost of living. They go around and ask ordinary citizens, how are you faring? When they ask me, I say, well, I'm faring by North Road. Right? Some other folks that think stuff, the prices out there and all of that. Right? That's the consistent team. Supermarket prices are high. We catch in retail. We went on a walkabout in Breeden Hoop. The vegetable sellers tell us, people are buying the vegetable now. They don't have a strive to cook little food and sell on the side. You're still selling vegetables, but in a different way. Right? You gotta get some other source of income. We see lots of housewives. Lots of farmers in Region 6, the prime example, right? Rice dung, sugar dung, then people converting their land into the other green gold, right? 50-something million, they catch somebody with the other day in marijuana, the street value. Who got land for plant that kind of marijuana? You understand what I'm telling you? And they're going, that's export, That's export. So people come to all kinds of conclusions to do stuff to get by, because this government ain't facilitating that, not creating the enabling environment. But guy needs to flourish. Exxon don't mind jumping in your faces how much profits they made last year. How much you made for mine? Every month you should go and push a bank. Cha-ching! You see, you own idle revenues coming in.
While I don't disagree with the opposition leader's statement, I view it a bit differently, in the sense that the government has accomplished what it set out to accomplish. Even though they had their manifesto and what's it, they had an agenda. What was their agenda? There was the public agenda, and then there was the real agenda. Mm-hmm. And the real agenda was to ensure that they set themselves up, set their families up, set their friends up to be in direct line from all of the wealth that could come from the oil and gas sector. Mm-hmm. And that is what they're doing. And so whether much has been accomplished for them, they're doing well, because that was their agenda. Their agenda has never been in the interest of ensuring that the entire society gets better healthcare, gets better the standard of living raised, is raised, was not their interest. Their interest is not developing the human capacity, human resources of the country. Their interest is ensuring that they amass as much wealth as they can for themselves. And so at the end of the day, what happens? They are fine. They are well. Whether or not there is increase in crime, there's increase in burglaries, they will have more security. Their homes will be secured. Their families will be, and if things fall apart, they can leave the country and go somewhere else, because their bank accounts, not only in Guyana but elsewhere, will be very full. And so that has been their agenda, and so they have accomplished that. And so the rest of us have to figure out whether or not we want to continue to live in their reality, or to figure out that, what they are doing is not in the best interest of the entire country. And so we need something different.
They're wicked. That's what they are. They are wicked. These issues keep coming up in the National Assembly all the time. And one of the refrains of this installed regime is that we know we're talking about and what we do, and well, the first thing, we never do nothing. The coalition never do nothing. We never had a plan, we never had a program, we never had nothing. Yesterday we saw our colleague Ganesh Maipal, who was just in the comment section, carrying on. I wake up late this morning and so on. Put it in them as we say. Have to remind them of some of the things that the opposition did when we had the helm of government, when we held state power. And oftentimes you have to remind these guys, where we came from and what we did. Tabitha.
I want to hear Ganesh.
Tabitha wants to hear what Ganesh said. Take a look, folks, and take a listen to what Ganesh Mahipur, Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister for Local Government and Regional Development, said. What he said in the National Assembly yesterday.
We had a budget that was not funded through oil resource. That's the first point I wish to make. And the money that we're getting now, the revenue that we're getting now, it is expected to use to develop for the people of Guyana and not the elite, the ordinary citizens of Guyana. And we expect the approach to be people-centered. But unfortunately, I now hear my friends on the other side using the term people-centered. But I remind them that is a term and a phrase that was coined by the honorable leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, and he has outlined on numerous occasions how he intends to attract the view, how he intends to ensure that the people-centered approach is followed through his various press conferences and other areas that he spoke to. So he spoke to a people-centered approach. On numerous occasions, he spoke about it. And after that, you hear the government side coming about people-centered approach and people-centered approach. Sir, under the APNU, our focus on the public servants and the ordinary citizens of this country, we built early childhood centers. And the whole background to early childhood centers was so that young children from working parents can have an avenue where they can go and they can learn and they can also be cared for and nurtured, so that parents won't have to worry about the children that are in 3 years old, 4 years old, and the likes. So you cannot say that. You're asking me where are they? One of them is located in Region 3 at Leonora. I know about that one because my son cut the ribbon to open that school in 2017 or 2018. There is one in Sunny. There is one in Dartmouth. So the fact that you are asking me, Honorable Vindi Prasad, where are these schools is enough for you to tender your resignation now from this honorable house. Because you are in a position where you can travel off the backs of the taxpayers' money, visit those schools and ensure that it's properly taken care of, but you don't know where they are. That is evidence that you are not utilizing your office for the benefit of the people of this country. So I advise, tender your resignation now.
Yep, that was our colleague Ganesh Maipur. Tender your resignation, what happening. Lots of them don't know what happening. And as we were listening to Ganesh there, we saw some information coming out of the former president of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce. You know, and he is talking to crime too. He's talking to crime too, saying you need a change in the leadership of the Ghana Police Force.
Yes, because the stats keep saying that crime is down, but as normal, the reality on the ground is saying something a bit different.
Yeah, so he's a little bit like Vindia. He don't know what's happening. He don't know what's happening. Oftentimes, folks, you got to remind folks what's up and what's going down. You know who else we heard from yesterday as well?
Who did we hear from?
We heard from our colleague Amanza Walton, the Zero too, on a host of issues, you know. As I said to you folks on another program last evening, or another broadcast, Amanza wasn't even slated to speak. But when you hear some things that these Jacobas and trench crappos want to say, you have no reason, you have no alternative but to respond. And respond to them.
Respond and find fault.
Right? Because again, if you listen to the other side, they would have you believe we never do nothing. Indar was one of them, Deodat Indar, the honorable member, Deodat Indar, who stood up last night and said, we never do nothing. He lives in Region 3, and every day he commutes across the Demerara Harbor Bridge, built by President Forbes Burnham. But we never do nothing. That's how the bare face. You understand what he said? That's how he come across the harbor bridge. He don't swim over. There's no ferry to bring your vehicle over. Every day he comes across from Region 3 to 4. We say, y'all never do nothing, and he stand up on the bridge.
It's the propaganda. they have to keep pushing a narrative. And what we need to do is exactly what Amanza was able to do, is to push back on that narrative that is inaccurate, and that propaganda that they try to allow to seep into the entire society, to have people saying things that are not quite accurate. So I think Amanza did a good job in responding to all that was said yesterday.
Correct, right. Here's Amanza's presentation yesterday. Part of it in the National Assembly, Amanza is our Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs and the International Cooperation. Amanza Watson is here.
I am always puzzled when I hear my colleagues from the other side speak and try to twist themselves into the pretzel that they find themselves in, trying to justify the unjustifiable. You know, I made a note because I heard the Honorable Indar talking about the social services and the social benefits. And I also heard the Honorable Member Ashni Singh speak about the years of 1971 and what happened over 40 years ago and so on and so forth. And you know, it occurred to me, Mr. Speaker, that the PPP has an inability to give credit where it is due. Because those social benefits that both the Honorable Minister Vindi Prasad and the Honorable Member Mr. Indar just spoke about were schemes implemented by the then PNC government, the NIS, the social benefits. And if I recall my history correctly, they opposed it. They voted against it. The road network that you are building arteries on was built by the then PNC government. I mean, the Harbor Bridge that the Bishop of Infrastructure was holding press conferences about because, you know, routine maintenance had to happen, like if it's something big, was built by the then PNC administration. I mean, I think I know my history a little bit. The maths not so much, but my history I'm sure about. And to think that they would have the temerity to come to this house to say that in the 28 years of the PNC, nothing happened when everything, the very foundation that they're proposing to build on was set by the PNC. So you will tell that to people who don't know the history. You gotta give Jackie jacket, and God knows, all morning I sit down and I try to give PPP a jacket. But the only thing I'm coming up with is the Skeldon Sugar Factory. I'm coming up with the Amila Falls project. I'm coming up with the specialty hospital. I'm coming up with the fiber optic cables. Failure upon failure upon failure. And you all have the temerity to come to this house to say that you know about building a country. And they operate as if the 23 years in power that they were in power never existed. So they go back to talk about the 28 years of the PNC government, forgetting that they had 23 after that. And want to talk about what we didn't do in the 5 years or who didn't do. What did you do in the 23 years? I will remind you that when the people of Guyana rose against this PPPC government in 2015, it is because you had reduced this country to a narco state. You had reduced it to being blacklisted for money laundering. You had reduced it to one of the crime havens of the Caribbean, a pariah state, to quote the honorable member on the other side. That is your history. You see, hindsight is always 2020. And whilst everything wasn't done perfectly, I dare you to come here to pretend to be the paragons of virtue and the ones who can develop this country, because you are not. Everything that you are building on was set by the PNC. So now that we have recalled history correctly, I will proceed to address this motion. Mr. Speaker, do I have your leave to continue? You see, because these things called facts are some pesky little things. And to hear the Honorable Vindya Prasad come here and to tell us that the non-oil segment grew when the Minister of Finance, or what's that called within the ministry? Look, the man who does look after finance, when the minister responsible for finance came into this house in 2023 budget and said, I regret that I must report a decline in the non-oil segment, in the non-oil sector. Last year, 2023, I will remind this honorable house, Mr. Speaker, that the Bank of, let's go to the Bank of Guyana in the year, the midterm reports, right? Sometime last year, that report recorded a decline in every sector. And I remember sitting in this honorable house, and I remember my colleague Vince Roy Jordan pointing out some things. And at the time, they didn't challenge it because they know it was the truth.
Yep, folks, that was a man so watching the zero for you there, taking through the paces. You can't have revisionist history. History is history, pure and simple, but they want to revise, Tabitha.
Yes, and I think she did, as I said before we got into it, that she did a very good job at setting the record straight where a number of these things are concerned. I think a lot of young people are coming into politics and coming into awareness of what is happening in terms of politics and governance, and they need to understand the truth and the reality of the situation. It's not a case that history and Guyana started in 2015, that they were there for 23 years before 2015.
Correct.
And everything that they weren't able to accomplish in 23 years, they expected us to accomplish in the 3.5 years that we had. And so I think she did a very good job of setting the foundation as to where we started from, what was accomplished. And the fact is that all of their major projects that they tried to accomplish were all ended up failures. All ended up to be failures. And so that is the record. Mm-hmm. And unless they can say that they can show all of the major projects that have been successful, that is the record that stands. Yeah. And so kudos to Manza for bringing that to the fore for us yesterday in the National Assembly. Yeah. That's the reality of it. You know, you can't erase that. I see folks mention the Linden-Suzac Highway as well as one of those projects on the PNC. You can't erase that. You can't erase that. And the bridge over the Kanji River. Yeah. You have the Jackie jacket and see somebody said, I think is Naomi, no jacket for the PPP. No jacket for the PPP. You know, that is the reality of it. Folks, unfortunately, our time has come to an end. Our time has come to an end. Just as we start having fun here. Joel Ward, good to see you there. You know, Joel says that cockroach eat out the conscience is true. It's how they could stifle themselves. You know, and said, we never do nothing.
You go to some places, I talk about on the outskirts of this country, Mabaruma, Polkaituma, you see fantastic roads, concrete roads. Now these things are better breaking up, steady. So the friends, family, favorites could get money. Proper infrastructure. We went to Bajika, they got a medical doctor in Bajika building roads. And the people complaining, had a big protest the other day. When you compare the quality of work, all they want to do is still doing something. They're good with launching. But the process and the outcome,
and what happened 6 months later to all of those projects.
The process and the outcome.
You see, I was now, as you were speaking, Sherrod, what came to mind is the word brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing where most of the MPs on both sides are young.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this whole thing of revisionist history that we're going through all over the world. It's big right now in the United States as to what they don't want to teach in the classrooms because they don't want the children to learn a particular part of the American history.
Mm-hmm.
And what we see playing out in Guyana is a revisionist history because the young people in the PPP will know what they're told.
Correct,
and
right.
so if they are told by their elders that nothing was done, unless they are smart enough to go and do their own research to get a sense of exactly what transpired, then they will just regurgitate what they were told. And so what you saw with MP Amanza doing yesterday was bringing some realities to the front, and they could not respond to that.
What are you responding to?
And so it was hitting at their conscience in such a way that the whole National Assembly was in an uproar because what Amanza was saying was cutting against everything that they were told was the truth.
I see.
And so they didn't know how to respond to that.
Ralph Park says the multilateral schools that some of them went through, Ralph. That some of them went through and benefited from, but we never do nothing. You see? We never, is it a merit? Is the gumption? It's the gumption of the folks. But that's going to do it for our time here, folks. It's been a privilege being here with you. Good to see you, Nicole Telford, on the live. And we want to thank Ganesh for his contributions as well.
Yes.
Ganesh very
good job.
Methodically went through, and delivered. And all the other MPs, as a matter of fact, who presented yesterday. Kemraj had a good presentation last evening on which bill was that?
There were a number of bills. Oh my.
The sleep celery, folks. Was a late night.
No, but there were a number of bills that passed last evening into the morning in the National Assembly that we believe are going to have some serious repercussions on our society. And I think over the next today's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have some discussion on what those bills represent and get some of the MPs that spoke on those bills to come and, and help people to understand what our issues were with the content of the bill. Because we understand the need for strengthening our legislative framework. We understand the need to having a robust regulation system. But we have to ensure that whatever it is that we're bringing and we're passing through the National Assembly into law does not hurt the majority of our population or open the majority of our population, people who don't look like or believe in the same things that the PPP believe in, end up being discriminated or victimized because of the laws that we actually create in the National Assembly. So there was a lot of discussion around that last night into this morning. And so I guess another time we'll be able to go and delve deeper into some of those bills.
Yeah, that being said, we want to thank all the MPs. You did a fantastic job yesterday. Sometimes you just got to represent. You just got to represent. But that's going to do it for us this morning, good folks. It's been a delight having Naomi joking. Naomi's problems, Naomi's problems. Gail Alicock, we see you there. And Edward, thanks for being part of the broadcast this morning. You all made it special. Thank you so much. We're humbled by the various places you all joined us from. By your presence make the difference here, folks.
Yes, have a good day. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your weekends. Please stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe on the roadways. Have a good weekend, folks. Bye.
See you in the next broadcast.